Hi, my name is Sophie Miller, and today I'm going to be talking about my leadership interview with Dr. James Hutchins, the head of school at Oak Hall. I wanted to select him as the person I interviewed for several reasons, first of which I wanted to explore leadership in the context and culture of academics. Every child is mandated by law to go to school, so therefore the lives of all people are affected by those who are in positions of power within education. This also has personal relevance to me because he was not only the head of school the entirety of my high school career as I went to Oak Hall, and I went there for 16 years, and I currently have two younger sisters, a senior and a sophomore, who are still enrolled there. But also, I serve as the director of the extended day program for the 3 to 5 year olds in the Early Childhood Learning Center. So he is my boss's boss's boss. And so this interview actually really helped me to embrace the culture and mission statement and ensure I'm living that out every single day as I go to work. So my perception of him before and during the interview, because I do have the privilege of knowing him beforehand. As a high school student, Dr. Hutchins could always be seen at Friday night football games, at the volleyball games that I played in throughout the week. He knows every student by name, always has a smile on his face, always is welcoming going around campus, and actually writes handwritten birthday notes to every student on their birthdays. During the interview, his overall demeanor was relaxed and at ease, and he even mentioned at one point that he enjoyed all the questions that I had to ask him because it gave him the opportunity to reflect on his career in multiple jobs in leadership. He really does care about the culture that he sets and lives out the mission statement to support and empower students to pursue their passions in art, music, and academics. Arts, athletics, and academics. And honestly, I truly felt he was very honest and truthful. He answered my question without second thought or without pride at all about the first time he remembers failing as a leader. And he admitted that he is a very black and white thinker. So that also gave me a bit of insight as to who he was as a leader. Key characteristics he discussed, I'm just going to list them and then go into them further. A hard worker, someone who is socially aware, supportive, a lifelong learner, someone who's versatile, and someone who's receptive to feedback. So multiple times during the interview, during the section when I asked him about advice he would give to college students who are going to be entering into potential leadership positions in the future, and when he was talking about lessons that he learned from mentors and his mom, he talked about having a good work ethic and being a hard worker. His mom, like I mentioned, actually was a single mom and raised him and his 3 siblings by herself. His dad was a Vietnam War veteran who was out of the picture the entire time he was growing up. She instilled in him this quote that says, "If you work hard and you're a person of great character, great things will happen." And he also personally embodies this characteristic because he didn't actually end up going to college until he was 26. He worked at a chemical company before that, and I think I'll go into that later. But from 26 with a wife, a kid, and a mortgage, as he said, he did his job at night and school during the day, or vice versa if it worked out, and he went straight through, got his bachelor's and his master's and his doctorate. Another quality was socially aware, recognizing the importance of building up a team around you and not doing it yourself. And he said this did take him a bit longer as he developed in his leadership style to understand this, but he attributes this to high school athletics first, where he says he has great coaches who taught him to learn to think beyond just individually and how you can contribute to a bigger group. And this really reminded me of what we've been learning about this entire semester with regard to humility, in the sense that it allows us to properly see ourselves within the context of our relationship with other people and our broader environments that we find ourselves in. And also being socially aware and recognizing the importance of a team with the first chemical job, or the first job he had in a chemical company where he worked for 10 years. He was the youngest hire out of 300 at the age of 19. and the system that they worked on was a team-based system, and he was actually elected by his peers, though the youngest in the group. A part of being socially aware also is knowing when to delegate, and like I said, this took him a while to learn, he said, but now he's developed people around him. He calls it his one school team, that because it's a K-12 school, it brings the heads of each department together and makes them more cohesive. And he said now he used to want to do everything himself, but now he just delegates, and he helps the people who he delegates to know that he trusts them and that they're going to make mistakes, but he basically allows them and empowers them to do their job, as he said. Two other qualities were supportive and lifelong learner. Like I said, he embraces and allows his staff to fail. He says you can make mistakes, just don't make the same ones over and over again. And he encourages people to pick up bits of wisdom when they can. And part of being a lifelong learner, he said himself, there's a new challenge every day, and I just have to take it day by day. This one was something that he really embodied as well, and that's being versatile. As he got his first job in, I believe it was Alabama, he first started as a teacher, then a coach, administrator, dean, assistant head of school. He just helped out whenever he could, and that's also important and translates into his hiring process, where he said he's looking for people who aren't really looking for a specific job description, but are looking for ways to help in and jump out. They're receptive to feedback also, and he implemented an evaluation system for his leaders within the school to help them grow. My perception of Dr. Hutchins after the interview is that he truly loves his job and cares about the environment, in which both teachers and students from all backgrounds want to buy into and be a part of. But he's also not ignorant to the fact that he is in what he called a customer service business, with the relationships between the parents and the school faculty, and he says that he will not allow that to be mediocre, nor will he compromise on the mission of the school. And he said that, if he's allowed for multiple opportunities for the faculty, he's tried to work with them and with the students as well. If they don't buy in, then they have to find somewhere else to go. He also said that he was a man of faith, and he believes that he is in his role for a reason, and it's truly evident that he is. And I believe, too, that he embodies the leadership qualities and the theories we've been discussing all semester long. The three key quotes that really helped me understand leadership from a practical level that he said was, first, sometimes you lead from the front and sometimes you lead from the back, but you need people to bring with you. People want to feel valued, respected, and cared for. And if you provide that for the group, then they'll come along. Not 100% of them all the time will. And you have to learn how to deal with people who view the cup half empty. And if they're not producing and giving us what we need, then they're just going to have to go somewhere else. I think it was interesting, like I said, that he brought up kind of that view of humility, where sometimes you lead from the front and you lead from the back. He also had talked about followership and what the people want from an organization. The second one that really personally stuck with me was a quote that he had from his mentor and the first head of school in an academic setting that he worked in. Tom Whitworth, who was the head of school, said, James, if you're leading and you turn around and no one is following you, you're just taking a walk. Again, that emphasis on the people who are following you and how you can't just do it on your own, and it's not all about you, but it's about the people you're with. And finally, the sign of a bad leader is that an organization is running well. That leader gets hit by a bus, wins the lottery, or retires, and he leaves, and the organization crumbles. The sign of a good leader is the same story, except internal people can step up and run that. And that's something that he truly believes that he's fostered at Oak Hall, and working there and having sisters who still go that, I can definitely attest to that. Overall, I really enjoyed this assignment and learned a lot about leadership through this. Thank you.